Uh, Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we will move ahead further with some other Java topics, and then we will move on to TestNG, which is again one of the important topics that everyone should know, right? So yeah, first we will basically create a new test. We don't, we don't use input. So we will understand how we can take input from users, right? So normally we will give input to all our programs, right? So we will see how we can do that, right? Let's have a main method. Let's say you want to make a sum, right? Previously we just had int a equal 5, int b equal 6, and we want to produce the sum. We had a method, right? So void add, and this method takes in two arguments, right? Int and yeah, so right. So here, if you want to call it, you will call like this: add a comma b, right? Good. And when we run this program, yes, we'll get the output, right? This is very simple program, right? But the thing is, I want to make this a and b values to be uh, given by the user. So as a end user, they want to give all these values, right? You don't want to hard code this here, right? Suppose let's say calculator. Okay, in a calculator, you enter the value what you want to do the sum, right? It is not giving you already existing values, right? So sum of two already existing values, right? So you need to make this as a variable so that these values are fetched from the user input, not directly written by you. So how we can do this, right? No, in this case, there is a class called a scanner. Okay, there is a class called a scanner uh, in Java. So this scanner is basically coming from java.util. Okay, scanner equal to, you need to create an object for this class, because this class, the methods inside that is all non-static methods. So you have to create a object to access them, right? Now you need to get back to the basics. Whenever you need to access a non-static method, you need to create an object for, right? We are creating that object, and now it's we will import this class. And this, there are multiple options. Okay, there is a scanner class from java.util, there is a scanner class from selenium, there is a scanner class from this package. Which one you want to download? Hey, I want to get the scanner from the java.util package. That's all fine. See, it is asking you need to pass me a constructor value, so you are not passing me, cannot resolve constructor. There seems to be no public constructor. So if you go there, these are all the different options we have. Okay, in this, what we want to do, you just need to tell system.in. Okay, that's it. Again, the system is a class in Java. So you just need to tell, I want to take input from the user. Okay, we are just telling that. Okay, I want to attach my standard input to the user so that I can fetch all the inputs from the user. Okay, now here, if you type scanner dot, now it will show you all the methods you have. Suppose you want to get the integer from the user, then you can call this next int, which basically returns you an integer. Okay, now yeah, that's fine. So whatever that is coming, I want to store it in int a. Okay, now I don't need this anymore, I will remove it. Okay, next, the same way I will have one more int. Okay, scanner dot next int. Okay, this is b. So first input, I'll get the input and I'll store it in a. Second input, I'll get the input and store it in b. So I don't need this anymore. So now the whole thing remains the same. Apart from that, we are just taking all these inputs from the user. Okay, let's try to run the program and see what's happening. Okay, if you notice, it is not, the program is not yet completed. It is waiting for your input. So you just need to type here. Let's say I want to give 9 as the first integer, press enter. Okay, and the second number I want to enter now, right? So that is 5, press enter. Now the program resumes, and then it completed the add operation for you and printed the values, right? So this is how you can maybe this is not really readable. So what you can do, first you can attach one statement, enter the first number, okay, and then enter the second number, right? If we try to run the program now, so enter the first number, okay, now I can understand what is happening. Okay, 8. Enter the second number, okay, 3, okay, and then I can print instead of this uh, some value, okay, a plus b, right? So yeah, so this is how you can basically read the input from the user and then use it in your program. Again, if it is an integer, that's fine, but what if I want to get a string value, right? Maybe I want to do string concatenation, I want to add two strings, okay, what I should do in that case, right? Maybe the same thing, instead of int, okay, you just remove the int, okay, which means this will give you one string, okay, string a, okay, and then I enter the first string, first word, okay, maybe I'll get the first name and enter the last name, right? Enter the last name, okay, and the same way you can remove this and then just mention. So this is of string type. If someone is giving their first name and last name, I am going to construct the full name for them, right? Instead of calling this, I will tell yes out full name is, right, a plus b. Okay, so now let's try to run it. Okay, first name, okay, Sachin Tendulkar, right? And then we get the result, right? So this is how it is, guys. So you can basically get the input from the user, assign to some values, and then you know how to do the addition or subtraction or whatever the value, whatever the operation you want to perform, you can basically do that. So this basically acts like an input. So this you cannot really use it in our Selenium automation, but you need to know how we can get the input from the users. Okay, we are not going to give any input at all, because when we click on run, the test should automatically run. Okay, we should not give any inputs. Okay, maybe if we want to give inputs, we need to pass it as a command line arguments, right? Let's say there is one more thing that we need to understand is you can, instead of using the scanner class, if there is something that let's say you have a username and password that you want to use, okay, let's say you have username that you can hard code, okay, so whatever, I have some username, okay, let's say my email id is something like this, okay, whatever, this is my username, and the password, let's say uh, password I'm going to give here, okay, 1234, okay, in the code. So everyone in my team will get to know my password, okay. So I don't want to pass, put it in the scripts. Let's say you want to log into Amazon website, you want to do some login operation, okay, you cannot put the password, your password out, right? So that's a security breach, and you don't want to reveal your password because you might have your girlfriend name there, right? So yeah, that's the reason you cannot reveal your password. So is there any way that we could pass these into the scripts, okay? And that's when the string arguments comes into picture, right? We all noticed, we understood what is public, we understood what is static, we understood what is void, we also understood what is main, but we don't know what is a string arguments, right? So we're gonna we this arguments, basically if add method is there, we can pass arguments a and b to this. The same way, if there is a main method, we can pass string array to this, okay? You know, right, what is a string array? String array is basically strings, right? It will be like this list of strings, right? Whatever, so it's a string array, right? Now you can pass this here, right? So that you can use it in your code. For example, let's assume I want to do the login, okay? Maybe we can take the orange HRM site, orange HRM demo site, right? So you want to, let's say you want to enter this password. Okay. So this is IDS password, right? So I can just mention WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. Okay. And we'll normally load this URL. Catch. Sorry, I need to copy this. Okay. And after this, driver dot find element by dot ID, right? And what is the ID? So in the password field, I want to enter the password, but this password I cannot reveal. See, I cannot put my password, right? So I cannot put my password as just 123. This is my original password. So other people might see it. So in this cases, what I can do, I can pass this password from the main arguments. Okay. So instead of I hard code here, I'm just mentioning, okay, aux 0, right? Aux 0. Okay, then how will I run this? Okay. If you try to run it, okay, let's see what's happening. I didn't set any values. Let's see what's happening. So you didn't enter anything because we didn't pass anything, right? So let's go back and see it is not a, you didn't pass me anything, right? So this array doesn't have anything, but you are trying to access the first element and then it's telling array index out of bound exception. So what if you want to pass values to this? You can just click this and instead of running it, go to the run configuration. Here, if you notice, it is telling what is the program arguments you want to pass. Okay, here you just need to mention what is the password for your application. So in my case, it's just admin. Okay, so you can give this here. Again, if you want only one word, you can give like this. If you want multiple words to be passed, okay, you can pass like this. Okay, whatever. Okay, whatever, and then click on apply. Then click on OK. Now, if you run this program, let's see what's happening. See guys, it's entered the values. Okay, this is an admin value. Okay, if you have a doubt, you can always inspect and then see there. Okay, so this is type equal to password. I think yeah, this is an admin. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you can basically pass values to your main method from the Java arguments. Okay, through these arguments. Okay, if someone is asking what is the use of this, you can just tell them what is this. Okay, maybe if you want to pass your passwords, okay, then at this time you can pass all these things. Okay, again, this is a string array, right? We have passed a lot of values and we have only fetched the first value. If you want to fetch or print all the values, this is just a string array, so you know how to iterate it. Okay, int I equal to 0, I less than aux dot length, and SOUT aux 5, right? You already know what is a for loop, how to iterate a for loop, how to print all the values in a for loop. I'm not doing anything different here. I'm just doing the same thing that we already know. Again, I'm commenting this for now because we don't want to open browser and all that. I'll close this as well. So just we want to see whatever the arguments we passed, whether it is displaying here. So if you notice, all these things are part of this, right? Good. So this is how you can pass, values to the program, right? So there are multiple ways. One is using scanner class and one is using this. And both of this we will normally not use. But why I teach it? Because if someone is asking, explain this public static void main and then string array, you need to explain why this is a string array, right? And if you don't make this a string array, what happens? Let's say I make it as an int array. What happens, right? See, the IntelliJ idea doesn't show me even the option to run it because JVM will definitely look for a main method that is of public type and it will only look for string array. Okay, if you make changes, it won't be recognized as a starting point of your program. So it has to be always string array in order for you to run this program. Okay, even this is IDE, but yeah, if it has to be recognized by the Java virtual machine to run this, then it has to be definitely string array. Then only it will run. Otherwise, it will not run, but it will not throw any error at all. Okay, it will not throw any error, but you cannot run this program. So that's all about it. Any other doubts in this so far? Otherwise, we'll head on to TestNG. Okay, I assume there are no more doubts, and we will go further. Let's come on, uncommon this code, and let's not do all these things. Let's do only this, right? Right, and here even I go here and then I'll modify the run configuration. I'll remove all these things. I don't need it. Okay, apply and okay. Okay, now let's say I want to validate something. Okay, after entering username password, after I click on login button, okay, I want to validate whether the new page is loaded. Okay, maybe the home page is loaded. Okay, so here I can go and basically fetch this text username. Okay, send keys, and this is what admin 123. This is admin. I think this is admin, right? Capital A, and driver dot find element. I want to click on login. Okay, sorry, I want to click on it. Just guys, again notice we have learned a lot of Java concepts. Okay, but even before we learn the Java concepts, we were in a position to automate things, right? So don't get demotivated. If you cannot understand certain parts of Java now, you can learn it slowly, but that shouldn't stop you from running the Selenium tests, right? Selenium tests are easy. You have to find the element, you need to do send keys, you need to click, you need to select a drop down value, everything you know, right? So it should not stop you from trying out Selenium, right? Once you get more control over the Selenium, you can come revisit and learn Java later point of time as well, right? It's not really a big thing to learn Java, right? Good. So once I click on this, let's go here. Enter. I want to verify. Okay, let's say I want to verify the title. Okay, let's inspect. So there is something called as title for every page. So if you notice, this is the title for this. So if you go to the head node, head tag, there will be a tag called as title, and you can verify the title of this page. You want to verify whether this is HRM. Okay, every page will have its title. Okay, so it's like a name for this page. Okay, so that developers can understand. Okay, yeah, on this title the page there is a error. You fix this. Okay, so that they can easily understand it. Okay, now I copy this and you can fetch the title at the runtime driver dot get title. Okay, there is a method called get title, which basically gives you string actual. This is an actual title that's coming. Okay, now I want to compare it with the expected title. So I have the expected title. So this is the expected title. I want to compare these two things. Okay, and then what we will do, we will tell if actual title dot expected title equals in our case expected title. Okay, then kettle test is passed, right? Else this is how we write it, right? And let's see whether this is working. Okay, so I think it should have, right? the test is passed. But we don't know how many tests ran, how many tests got passed, how many tests got failed. And this looks really clumsy, right? So if I have to do a lot of validations, this becomes not, really efficient way of doing this, right? So let's say I want to validate all these elements on this page. How can I do this? Maybe something like that, okay? And I don't, I cannot share this, right? This is just a console output. I cannot tell my manager, hey manager, my test got passed, okay? Then he won't believe. He will tell, okay, send some report so that I can see myself. Okay, what report you will sell? So will you take a screenshot of this console and then tell test is passed? Then he will tell, hey, you can just simply print test is passed in a console and then you can send it to me. I will not believe you. I need a proper report, right? So in that cases, Java doesn't have any inbuilt reporting systems, or it doesn't have any capabilities, to produce what you are expecting. Okay, in these cases, there is amazing unit testing library called as TestNG. Okay, let me close this. Okay, there is something called as TestNG. We want to add this to our program, right? So to add that, you can just search TestNG Maven dependency. Again, guys, we are not downloading it as a jar file. Now we started to use Maven, so we will use Maven. Okay, so if you notice, I think this is the latest. Okay, so if you notice, this is the dependency. Just copy this, and then you can go to the pom.xml. Now we have only two. We're going to add the third one, right? And if you notice, as soon as you add, you can go here. You can click on this reload button so that it will download all the dependencies for you. Okay, so it's downloading all the things. Once it downloaded, you can go and see it here. Okay, so you notice these things are here, right? So it is getting downloaded. Now I can close this. Now I added a library to my path. Okay, it was very easy. Previously, if I download this as a jar file, okay, you can download the jar file here as well. If you download this as a jar file, you need to add it to the build path. You need to ship it. If you want to share it, this project to someone else, you need to ship it. So became very complex, right? With the help of Maven, it all becomes very easy, right? You just copy this dependency, put it in your pom.xml, reload the page, everything is getting downloaded. Tomorrow, if they release new version, you go ahead and change the version to 7.5. That's it, all done. Okay. So everything is taken care by the pom.xml, and the Maven takes care of all these things. Okay. Good. Now we need a proper reporting as well, right? And TestNG gives that exactly that. Okay. Let's close all these things and we'll create a new package. Okay. Maybe I'll create a new TestNG. Okay. My first TestNG test. Okay. This is our first TestNG test, right? The good thing about TestNG test is you don't need a main method. Okay. This is something strange, right? You don't have to type main method. You don't need this at all. Okay. TestNG will internally call this. You don't have to really worry about it. Okay. All you need to do is you head towards and directly write your first test. Maybe public void. What is my first test case? My verify page orange HRM page title, whatever, right? This is my first test, right? Good. But I need to tell TestNG, hey, this is a test case. Okay. Then how will I do this? Okay, you just go on top of this and then add at the rate test. So this is an annotation. We'll understand what is an annotation later point of time in detail. But yeah, you just need to tell test, and this is coming from org.testng.annotation. So this is a TestNG library that we added. So just import it. So if you notice, this gets imported, which means this, whatever you're going to write in between these two curly braces, this is going to be a test case. Okay, this is going to be a test case. Anything you write inside this is going to be a test case. Okay, do I need a main method? No. Okay, how this will call this, how the JVM program will understand this. This TestNG developers have written logic inside them. Okay, so that it will internally calls main method and then do all this operation for you. So you don't have to really worry about how this is calling the main method, how JVM understand all these things. Okay, it will be automatically taken care by the TestNG for now. Okay, we will learn how this is happening later point of time. Okay, now I go here and I have previously the test, right? So I don't know where I have written that. Maybe I'll use control and shift. So this is the input test, guys. I think if you press double shift in your keyboard, okay, it will basically opens all the recently opened files, so that you don't have to really search for which file you opened recently. Okay, in this case I have opened input test. I want all this code. I'll copy it, and then here I will paste it. Okay, now let's see whether this is working. Okay, so you have to write, click this, and then if you notice, run. Yeah, we're going to run verify orange HRM page title. Okay, you get the option here. Everything else the same. Instead of main method, you have to just create one method and annotate a test on top of it. That's it. Now this will be treated as a test case in TestNG. So everything is working absolutely fine the same way how you want. No problem here. And if you notice, we are getting something here. A run is 1, total test is 1, total pass is 1, failure is 0, skip is 0, right? And we are also getting some logs which we want to see. And we also having some hierarchy. We'll come to this next. But previously we didn't get anything, but now we are getting this results, right? But this is not enough. Still, I cannot show this to my you know clients, right? So TestNG by default produces some HTML reports, right? It produces some reports in the same folder. Let's try to right click and then reload from disk. Okay. Okay. Still, I could not see that folder. Okay. So this folder will be like something like test. If not, okay, this folder will be like this, but it's not displaying now. Okay. Then if in your case also it's not displaying, okay, you can right click here, uh, and then okay, or you can click here, modify the run configuration, because by default it won't show you the report. You can go to configuration here, and then there are 3 parameters here. Go to the listeners and then use default reporters. Okay, this is the default report that is coming from your TestNG. If you click on this, click on apply, click on OK, and now if you try to run the program again, okay, everything is getting fast. Okay, so if you notice, it's all fine, but see, if you notice, this test-output folder is now getting displayed. Okay, if you open this, previously it was not there. This is the report folder that is generated by TestNG automatically. And if you go to the index.html, this is a file, right? And you can basically open this in browser. Okay, so that you can view this HTML very well. Please notice, now we have something like a report, right? Okay, so this is the report, and there is one test. Okay, and you can also see one test method, and one of them is passed. What is the passed method? The passed method is this. Okay, okay, whatever. So we are seeing something, right? So it took almost 10 seconds to run, and this is the method name, and this is present in this class. Everything is fine, right? So at least we can show something to our clients, right? This looks okayish, right? So still, this is not a very good report, very eye appealing report, but at least we don't have a report before. Now we have a report. Okay, and then you can just send it to him in an email, right? This one is easily shareable. But the problem is, again, this is not really beautiful report. Okay, we can create more beautiful report with the help of external reports later, but for now this is okay. Without we didn't have anything before. At least we have something now. Now, also, if you notice, we are doing this. This is not a real good approach. Okay, if this is failing, we want to tell our test is failing. Okay, not here. Okay, our test is failing here. Number of passes is 1, but it actually needs to tell 0. For example, I am just telling HR1, which is actually wrong. So your expected won't match the actual. And I'll also close driver dot quit. Let's try to run it. Now this will print the test is failed, but this will not tell update the result. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So if you notice, see it printed test is failed, but it is telling total you ran one test and one of them is passed. Okay, this is really confusing. Okay, guys. So your TestNG doesn't even bother what operation you are doing here. It doesn't know what is the text here. Okay. If you want to make this as a fail, you need to assert things. You need to verify. You should not use if conditions. Okay. If conditions means if it is matching, it will print this. If it is not matching, it will print this. Okay. And then it will move on to further lines. But in TestNG, we have something called as assertions. Assertions might look at new names to you, but it basically means verifications. Okay, it will do verification whether your expected is equal to actual. Okay, okay, let's remove all these things. We don't need this annoying if blocks anymore. We will just type assert. Okay, this assert is a class in TestNG and it has a lot of static methods. Again, guys, notice we are using class name dot method name. So which means these are all static methods. You can easily understand. Okay, if you go to the assert class, let me just import this class. Okay, now I go here. I go to this class. If you notice, it has assert true as a static method, right? So that you don't have to really create an object for this class. Okay, you can directly access class name dot method name, right? That's what you're going to do. Assert dot assert equals, you want to compare two things, right? So you can pass int actual, int expected. The same way you can pass long, character, double, string, whatever you want to compare two things, you can do this here. Okay, in my case also, I want to compare two equalities. I want to compare whether the actual title is equal to expected title. That's it, right? It's going to do the comparison for you. And if the comparison is failing, okay, it will stop the program here and it won't execute the statements after this, right? So that your browser will not be quit. Okay, so let's see what's happening. We are actually voluntarily making this test as fail so that we can see some failure results here. Okay, let's go here on this program. Okay, so browser is not getting closed automatically because your program failed here. Okay, let's see what log is telling. Okay, it is telling clearly, hey, java.lang.assertion error, expected is this, actual is this, right? And this is the problem, right? So we can now clearly understand what is the expected, what is the actual. So we can, oh, I have made a mistake here or whatever, right? And yeah, if you notice, total run is 1 and the failures is 1, right? Now the test engine also knows there is a failure, right? And if you open the index.html again, see there is one suite and one fail test. And what is the failure? It was actually the expected is this, but it found this, right? So it has clearly what is the documentation or whatever the stack trace you need to debug, right? For example, whatever you see here, it's all there. Okay, where this error happened, it happened in the 27th line, right? So if you notice, it happened in the my first TestNG test. That is the class name. So this is the class name. In this class name, and the 27th line, which is this, is what causing the issues. So now you need to know where this is failing, right? So this is very important. So you need to understand in the 27th line is the place where this whole issue happened, right? And we are trying to do assert equals and then at the end it failed, right? Good. So this is how it is. So now you don't have to write if conditions, you can actually do verifications. Okay, so that's the beauty of TestNG. So it gives you the liberty to create some default reports, and also it provides you assertion libraries so that you can validate two things. Okay, right. Now, apart from this, it can also offer you a lot of things. Let's say I want to create one more test. Let's say this is the test, and this time I want to verify. Uh, Maybe what I can tell is invalid password error. I want to do this. Okay, I'll tell invalid password. Okay, and after I click on the login button, I want to validate the error message. Okay, let's go here to the orange HRM. Let me do the logout. Let me in 1 2 3 4 whatever, and then click on login. Now it will show you invalid credentials. Now let's try to find this element. So this is a span with the ID as span message. Again, guys, don't try to find an element with a text and then validate the text. Okay, I have seen people writing like this. Okay, okay, after clicking on this, I don't want to do this. I actually want something different. So driver dot find element. I have seen people writing like this. Find element by XPath. Okay, what is XPath? XPath is you can write span and text equal to invalid credentials. Okay, this is also an XPath, right? People write like this, and then after that they will get the text. Okay, what is the problem with this approach? Okay, first thing, we are trying to get the text, but we are finding the element with the text itself. So what happens if if there is, instead of in credentials, it's invalid credentials 1 2 3, then it will tell you, this element is not found. It will not tell you the actual failure. Okay, we will come and see this later point of time, but first we will put this, we'll get the text, and this text is basically actual error. Okay, yes, expected error. Okay, string expected error is what we know already. So this is the expected one, right? And I want to assert these two things. As you all already know, assert dot assert equals the actual is actual error, the expected is expected error, right? Now, see, either you can run this test or you can just run this test. Okay, now I'm just going to run only this particular test. Okay, so I can just click on this, and if you notice, verify invalid password error, only this particular test I'm running, I'm not running the previous one. Okay, so now test is passed, everything is fine, right? Now let's say the problem is you are trying to find it with the help of text, and assume the text is not this and the test is this, right? So let's try to run it now, right? So now you get to see, hey, there is no such element, I could not find this element, right? So this is the problem. Actually the problem is, you should see an assertion error, actual error, expected error, what is the actual message and expected message, but this is not happening. This is because you are using some invalid approaches. This is not good approach. So if you want to actually get a right failure error message, okay, let's say instead of this particular XPath, if I use ID and then span message. Okay, y.id as span message, or you can use span at the rate ID. You can remove all these things, at the rate ID equal to span message, right? So you can use this. Now maybe I change something like this. Now it will tell you the assertion error. Okay, so your test will fail here itself, guys. Okay, so you should not use a text to find the element and then to get the text. Okay, you don't do it. Now we are seeing the assertion error, which is what we want. So a test should fail because of your assertion, and it should not fail because of unknown elements or locators or strategies like that. Okay, it should actually fail because of your assertion. Okay, that's a very good approach. Okay, so if you are, if you're not getting the text from this element, then you can use text to find the xpath. Okay, that is a good approach. But if you are going to get the text out of it, don't use the text. Okay, use something else. Okay, something else parameters. Okay, maybe some other dynamic xpaths. Okay, not the text to find the element. Okay, so yeah, now you know how to assert a test, how to run a test. Now we all can see what's happening. And if you want to run both these two tests, okay, you can go see, if I want to run only this, I can run this. If I want to only run this, I can run this. But if you want to run the whole thing, you can go here and then click on the class, which means it'll run all the methods that are annotated with that test. Okay, one by one. Let's see which one is executed first. So if you notice, invalid credentials is getting executed first. And here, the next, it is running the title test, which is validating the title. And both of them got failed. That's because we have voluntarily failed them. That's different. But if you notice, even though this test is at the top, this is not executed first. This is getting executed first. And why is that, right? By default, okay, by default, TestNG tries to run the test in the alphabetical order. For example, this is also verify, this is also verify. But the next letter is I. So which is alphabetically first, then the O, right? So this test case is executed second. Okay. So, but if you want to run this particular test case first, anyways, then you can just add one bracket and then you can mention the priority. Okay. So I want this to be first. You are a priority to me. Okay. You are a VIP. So you'll be executed first and this will be second. So whatever you mention in the priority, right? The minimum priority will run. So this guy is a first priority. So he'll run. Okay. Good. By default, all these things will have priority as 0. All the tests that you are creating will have priority as 0. So if the priority is 0 for both of them, it will try to understand which is alphabetically first. Okay, and then it will execute this. But now I am telling you run this first. You run this after that. Okay, and here we can also make this as a pass so that I can see these tests getting passed. Okay, now I will run the entire test class. So one test is passed. Now the second test is getting executed. So both of them now passed, right? So you have this, and you can also go and see the reports, right? Just reload it, and if you're not getting it, maybe uh, this is not getting updated. You'll see how we can run this. Maybe next step we want to run this in parallel, right? How we will run this panel, because if you have 1,000 tests, if you're running one by one, it will take 5 days to run, right? If you have 1,000 to 2,000 tests. So we don't want to do that. We want to leverage parallel execution, and TestNG also supports this very easily. It doesn't mean Java doesn't support it, but if you want to do the parallel execution in Java with just using Java, it is very complicated, guys. You need to override one functional interface, very, very complicated. But TestNG is very, very simple. Okay, it can help you to run tests in parallel at the blink of an eye. Okay, uh, we'll learn how to do that maybe tomorrow, but for now just understand whatever we are writing in the main method is very difficult for us, because if you want to create two tests, okay, it is very difficult for you to manage them. But here, anything that you write between these block is one test case. Okay, this is one test case, this is one test case. If you want one more test case, you add one more block, you write all your logic there. So everything becomes easy, right? So you can able to group things together, and you can create a lot of tests easily, right? So that's the advantage of using TestNG. So we are going to use TestNG from here on instead of directly using main methods. Okay, So yeah, and each test case will definitely have some kind of validation. Okay, even if you write a test case, manual test cases, right, you will have some validation, right? You will validate whether the error message is actual to this, right? So the same kind of thing even in coding. Okay, previously, people JUnit. Okay, previously there was something called as JUnit. Okay, this is what developers were using to write unit test cases. Okay, again, can anyone tell what is an unit test case?
Yes, Mothan, so it's what the developer writes, like to check for the they write some method. So is that method is working fine? They will just
Yes.
give their inputs to that.
Yes, yes. So if developers are creating some methods, some classes, they want to validate whether this particular thing is working fine. To verify that, they will write some code. So they write some code to run the application, and then they write some code to test whether their application will work into like how they want. Okay, so that's called as unit test. They were using JUnit. Again, you can also use JUnit. They also comes with all these features, but TestNG has more features than JUnit. We are not going to cover JUnit here, but just understand we are going to use an advanced version of JUnit. Okay, that is called the TestNG, which means test next generation. Okay, so it has more features than JUnit, so we are using this. Okay, so any other doubts apart from this? Otherwise, we will learn more on the TestNG. What are all features it has? What are other capabilities? How to run test in parallel? What are other capabilities it has? Everything we will see tomorrow. Any other doubts you have? If not, I will stop my recording.